Like Slumberjack's music tastes like elderflower to me. So I feel like I know if we're on the right track of writing a record, and towards the end it starts to bringing that hint of elderflower. I go like, there it is, there is that Slumberjack thing, and then there's everything else I don't care. I prefer live now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, why?
Just fun, man. I guess it's also because it's different. I mean, you know, the amount of times we've done live versus the amount of time we've DJ'd. We've only done a couple times, like 15, 16 times, you know, live shows. But being on stage, playing all originals, it's such a crazy feeling. You kind of feel like one of those bands that you grew up, you know, being a fan of. Like, I remember, like, you know, in watching, you know, English band or American Quick Five. I was like 13, and they play all originals. It feels like that until electronic music came along. People do DJing. So I guess when we started doing live shows, it feels very accomplished. It's a good sense of achievement for us.
Yeah, it's what we always wanted to do. Really, is the live show. We always wanted
live,
to.
actually.
Yeah, our first shows were actually live, and then we realized it was too hard. We didn't actually have the music catalog to play a live show. So we kind of waited for 3 years until eventually now, well, at the start of this year, we were like, it's time to do the live show. And it feels so great just being able to play all your songs all the way out. You're really active and engaged the whole time. You're busy doing stuff. Whereas DJing, it's super high energy and you're pumping track after track after track. But I think the live show, you feel a lot more. Right? Yeah, you feel like you're really playing music as opposed to just, you know, DJing, which is a different skill set altogether.
I don't bag either though.
Yeah, totally. They're both really fun and different.
Yeah. DJ set, because it's so fast, within the hour we play about 42 to 45 songs. So that's like a minute and a half or less sometimes per song. And we play so quickly, fans are constantly getting fed. So like I feel like what you're actually cultivating is the ADHD mentality. If people know that it's a DJ, they're ready for that style of show. But when it's a live show, like we do 22 songs in 75 minutes. So it's even less than half that we would do for a DJ set. But it's more of a journey, I think. We used to, in the beginning when we did our live show, we were very worried that people will not dance to certain parts. But then when we go to see like a Flume show or, you know, like a Porter Robinson's show or anything that's live in that matter, there are moments where we can look at the crowd and they're not dancing, but doesn't mean they're not enjoying. A lot of them are mostly in awe. They're just standing there and just, you know, accepting and digesting the music and giving them time to breathe. So we like the whole huge highs and, you know, really down lows and big contrast. That's what we can pull up in our live set.
Yeah. I taught myself how to use this software called Blender, which is a 3D, it's like a free open source 3D software. I was just kind of doing that for fun, and I made some stuff and showed Morgan. He was like, this is pretty cool. Maybe we can incorporate it into our show visuals. So we made a few little things, and then we realized,
started getting better.
We realized firstly, oh wow, if we want to get visuals, it's going to be really expensive to have someone else do it.
Well, at the level that we want to do.
At the level that we wanted, we wanted every song to be different and to have everything timed on the beat. You know, that can cost tens of thousands, even like $100,000 to get a whole show visually done like that.
Whereas if you pay someone, they can't really see what you're trying to see too.
Exactly. So we wanted exactly what was in our minds to be on the screen at exactly each moment, and we knew we just weren't going to get that control if we hired someone else to do it. Yeah. So we were like, let's just teach ourselves. We bought a super powerful computer, and we spent like 3 months learning the programs and putting everything together. Yeah. And it's been a really fun experience. We're still constantly updating the visuals, adding new stuff. We added a whole bunch of new content for this Joy Boy tour. And it's been like a really fun experience putting everything together.
And now we just have this whole separate skill, you know, of making visuals, which I think that's what's so rewarding about doing Slumberjack is, you know, we're constantly learning new stuff, you know, from music to now, you know, VFX. We're
super into cinematic soundscapes. We often like to imagine the visual side first before we even start a song. So we'll talk to each other and say, I want this track to sound like the middle of the desert. There's like a community in the desert. What's their anthem? What's their vibe?
What would be the soundtrack?
You know, it's 3,000 years in the future, but they use ancient technology. So we kind of build up this visual universe first, and then write the music to fit into that. And we find for us that helps hugely in choosing the type of sounds to use, the textures to use, what kind of beat, what tempo. But we also do a lot of like game music. So we just played Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted, these like PS4 games, and the music in those, like how it works with the game world, really inspired like the type of music we were writing as well.
A lot of people take inspiration from like real world settings. We like to make it really fictional for ourselves.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of just, like FUXWITHIT, made up. And then we write the music to the made up world. Just hopefully, you know, by doing that, we constantly stay unique to our own path. Because like, you know, we don't really have a lot of crazy personal stories. We just like to create the idea and inject our own experiences, but like distort it so much that like it almost feels like a self-expression. But we're, you know, it's a whole like fictional story that was created in our own brains. Like we're still developing the idea, and then soon hopefully we'll be bringing out like a more concrete concept to the live show as well.
Yeah. Anything. Well, I mean, we've used a lot of. We've tend to go back to a lot of Tibetan stuff, a lot of Japanese stuff, and a lot of Turkish stuff. That tends to be like where we find a lot of the more interesting sounds to us.
Yeah.
But we're totally open to anything. We have sounds from all different nations and cultures across the world. We have Indian stuff, we have Celtic stuff.
Recent like Zulu warrior chants.
Yeah.
How do you find that stuff?
They're on the internet. Like
Yeah.
some people are just not open to it. Like a lot of sample packs that, you know, producers look for are just, you know, your kick, your snare, your synth. But I think more advanced producers realize that you don't really need a lot of those, because drums are drums, you know, and then a little bit of special things here and there. But the cool stuff is things that people don't look for. But Fletcher and I also sample a lot. So when I go back to Malaysia, I'll try to record, you know, street buskers, or I'll attend a world music festival and record that. And then knowing Troy now, like we would swap. You know, he will find some weird things.
People know that we're into that kind of sound, and they'll tell us like, you should look up this sample pack, or check out this thing I found, because they know we like those kind of sounds, so they help us like find new stuff.
I've deleted a lot of my samples recently on my computer to make space for this type of sound. So
Yeah.
I took away all the drums. Just we can make that.
Yeah.
But you can't make like a Mongolian chant. You know, it's not possible to recreate that. The Bulgarian one is a new one that I'm really liking.
Yeah. Create in terms of, we'll take existing elements. Maybe we'll take the crack off one snare, combine it with the tail of another snare, take out the low end and add our own
from
body
India.
into it. You know, so we kind of mix and match different sounds to build like a new hybrid sound.
So it's not like purely traditional, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going out and recording, you know, a real snare drum.
Or making our snare drum.
No.
Like
You know, but
miking it, boom, record it.
But we take samples that we can find and build a new sound out of it, especially for snares. We're really proud of the snare sounds that we can come up with. Yeah, well, I think actually it's funny you mentioned that, because we're now trying to do a little bit more stuff back from the early days. So
we have phases though.
You know, we're doing, recently we've been writing a lot of banger type instrumental club tracks, but we also have a whole bunch of vocal, more song-driven tracks in the bank as well. So I guess it's kind of a natural progression, because we knew that in order to reach a bigger crowd of fans, we'd have to write songs which would actually appeal to a bigger market. So while the SoundCloud beat banger things are great for a certain group of people, it's not applicable to all sorts of fans. And we of course want to write music that is going to be listened to by as many people as possible, and is going to speak to as many people as possible. So we started studying the pop music essentially, and then thought, okay, let's take pop music and figure out how we can,
like about pop,
how can we slumberfy it? You know, we're always talking about taking a track and make it more slumberjacky. So what can we add in to make it our own, and it's not just straight pop?
We challenge ourselves too, though. We, as artists, I mean, a lot of artists out there really preach on the idea of like being yourself and sticking to your own sound, sticking to that one sound that you really like. But as artists, for Fletcher and myself, that just means we're constantly learning and challenging ourselves to do other things that we might not at first like, but might find use for it. So when we started, we actually didn't like trap music, right? Like Fletcher actually didn't like it a lot. I started like, it's kind of like hip hop, but like at 140, it's kind of weird, at 150. And then as we do it, we're like, okay, we can make this work for ourselves. How do we? So that's, I think the idea of challenging ourselves is the key to Slumberjack, is looking at something that we, would originally brush off at pop music and go, how do I make what, obviously a lot of people like that kind of stuff. I want to learn why people like it, and I want to see if I'm missing out on something. So both of us would study that intensely and then apply our own style to, said genre or whatever style.
A lot of listening, a lot of
listening.
Extracting the chord progressions, the common progressions that pop music uses. We have this cheat sheet in the studio of all our favourite chord progressions we've heard in pop songs.
Yeah.
Because of course those kind of things are just recycled
They
over
are
and over
recycled,
again.
yeah.
Change the voicings, but the bass chord progression is still the same. So we sort of take that. Every time I hear a nice progression, I'll note down the song, find out what the progression is, and then we write it into the list.
And keep that in the bank to pull out later and see if we can like tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much like we study it like math, like school.
Yeah.
We'll break it down completely, and then we'll just go, here's the chord progression, here's the tempo, here's the rhythm, here's the groove, and then we'll just go, yep, that's in our catalog now. Next time we want to write something and go, I want something melancholic, and then that drum sound, that tempo. All right, let's put it together and see how it looks. Not so good, we can start swapping things out.
I guess for all artists, the ultimate challenge is writing an album, which is not something that we're looking to do immediately, but it's something that is going to be, I feel, for us, the next big thing that we do, right? For so long it was bringing the live show to life. It was taking all the music we've written and putting it into this journey, which was the live show, and building the visuals and building that whole experience. And while we're still working on that and growing it, I think the next big thing is going to be putting together a same experience and journey, but instead of in a live form, in a recorded form, and that will be the album. But we're not thinking about that just yet. It's in the back of our minds for the time being.
Or just dabbling in genres that people might not expect that we're doing. Might just write a house record.
Yeah.
Or a techno record, because it's challenging.
I mean, we've written stuff. We have stuff in demo form, and stuff in non-demo form.
And almost done, yeah.
That's just sitting there.
It's just right now, like we're in tour mode until we have some time to kind of sit down and to really brainstorm how we're going to roll these out in the coolest way, like the best way of delivering the ideas. Like dropping a song is cool, but it's better to have like some sort of like a campaign, like a video or like a concept or like a story behind it. So it's not just us, it's us creating this story that fans can live in and go, here is the soundtrack to that scene, and then check it out. It might be a happy hardcore song, I don't know, it might be a psytrance song.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're locked on a bus together for like 3 months, so I would be surprised if we don't do anything.
Yeah. We generally like to under-promise.
Yeah.
And but
I mean, we got some things happening.
We have some things happening.
Yeah.
Let's always consider the camera. We have some things
but
happening.
Yeah, we don't like to say that we're definitely doing a track and then it doesn't come out and stuff. So, but yeah, like all the artists on this tour are kind of working with each other and having a good time on the bus.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, you're just gonna see music after this tour.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think what happened was because I'm colorblind, so my brain started to make connections. Usually colorblind people have synesthesia on the color side of things, so whatever they hear or taste gets converted to colors because their brain is lacking a certain color, so it's creating its own. So we're creating the visual component, the memory of it, or the supposed memory of it, because you haven't never seen it before. Mine just somehow got rewired to my tongue, so I'm tasting sounds. A lot of people have it though. You're just less concrete. Like I would say Fletch would have it. You listen to a certain sound and he'll go that the texture is not right. That's already a touch sound thing. Or not, it's like Fletch would go like, that just doesn't feel right, it has this like weird color to it. That's already synesthesia. But mine is like, I can just I can taste like straight up like that sounds like tastes like vomit, like it's gross. Or that one tastes like rubber. I taste a lot of rubber actually because everything is synthetic. So my brain just goes rubber, synthetic, like, or butter, or like Slumberjack's music tastes like elderflower to me. So I know, I feel like I know if we're on the right track of writing a record, and towards the end it starts to bringing that hint of elderflower. I go like, there it is, there is that Slumberjack thing, and then there's everything else. I don't care. You know what I mean? If we end up writing like full like trance, I'll be like, okay, trance has this whatever flavor or whatever chords we use, whatever sound we use. But if I'm not tasting the elderflower, I go, okay, well, Slumberjack's not in it yet. We need to keep working on it, and then it'll come out. I'll go like, this is it. But Fletch knows that too, except not elderflower. We look at each other and go like, that's the moment. Like we know it. Like I'll look at him and go like, here's, and then we'll get eye contact and we'll know like this is the moment.
Yeah, I would love to try it and do that again. The chorus, we really nailed that formula of
instrumentals there.
Of just something that was so left of center for what was out at the time, and something that was so different. Not to toot my own horn at all, but like
it was weird.
It was something that I had never heard before, and I still haven't heard really anything like it since. And I want to definitely try and nail.
Fletch was the one
like
that injected faith into it. I was like, dude, like I know it's fresh, but I don't know if it's gonna work. I really don't know if it's gonna work. And then a lot of people on our team are like, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work, man. But Fletch is like, no, we're putting it out. Right? Yeah. And then it came out, and we're like, oh, okay, maybe it's gonna work. And then boom, it's on radio in Australia. I was like, what the hell? How is such a weird track on radio?
Yeah.
I was really young. I was 13. I think about the same time I picked up the piano. I was a really nerdy kid in school. You know how a lot of nerdy kids just pick up one thing that they think is gonna be cool, but still nerdy. Magic was super nerdy, but like to me that gave me, you know, my own little bubble of confidence. I thought like, okay, like regardless of how I dress at that time or how I like, you know, speak, I have magic. Like I'm better than, you know, you, because you play basketball, I can't do it because I'm too short, but I got magic. So that gave me the confidence. And most of it's like music producers, we hang out on the forums, the internet, when it first like popped off. People on forums. I was on the forums a lot. We're creating a lot of magic tricks. You know, we sold them online. Some people will buy it and then went on to license it for bigger shows. So we've made a couple of like my team, so me and my team, we've made a couple of magic tricks in our publications. So it's fun. It's been fun. I still dabble in it though, but it's not like I'm gonna sit down and go, okay, if I were to do this magic trick, I'm gonna have to reverse engineer and spend like weeks on reverse engineering and effect. You know?
Maybe.
I mean, like we try to dabble with the idea, but it needs to be grand enough and
not cheesy.
Not cheesy.
Yeah.
There is not gonna be a pretty girl that comes out with a hula hoop. Like we're not gonna like, you know, shake stuff. It's just if it's gonna be magic trick, it's gonna have to look like classy. I feel.
Agreed.
And I guess that could be a challenge. I mean, we have ideas. We have dabbled in it, like not to dismiss the idea of putting magic in the set, but we're not gonna go, and now here's a, you know, a magic trick. Like it's just gonna happen, and if you miss it, too bad. And if you don't miss it, people will be like, did you see what just happened? You didn't? Oh my god! Like what just happened? And we're gonna play it. We're not gonna play onto it. We're just gonna keep running the show.